Hello, welcome back. And also, thanks for letting me back into your virtual space where you are at the moment. I'm going to start with a demonstration that I'm also going to time. So you get to see this whole thing called a Ben ad here. This is a custom GPT using the paid version of ChatGPT. I'm going to start a timer and then try to hit the button at the same time. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so I've got this custom GPT creating a custom ad for stuff that I would want to promote, or this could be something that you'd want to promote too. Imagine trying to create new images all the time for a specific event that you want to keep engaging, and you have to keep turning stuff out all the time. This is perfect for it. You will see some stuff happening behind the scenes right now. This is what the custom GPT is using to run things in Code Interpreter. You also got to see this image, and we're going to fuse this together with some promotional material that I've already created. But I'll show you how this is going to go, and you won't have to code anything. But, oh, it's done. Even maybe subtract a few seconds. So let's say in like 47 seconds, we were able to get an image like that. And so I can consistently have me in the middle, this guy named Ben Rush. He likes to tell stories sometimes, and he likes to do it at a cool place. So I'm going to consistently have me in this kind of event details at the bottom, and I could just run this over and over and over and over. And so the need to go through and like do stuff in Canvas, PowerPoint, however, can be eliminated a little bit, which is excellent. So I'm doing this through a custom GPT. We have all this code kind of stuff. Let's just do it from scratch, and you can see how you could be able to customize it too, if you'd like. So, new chat. I'm going to bring over some prompts that I've done before and I've gotten teed up for us. So first, let's use DALL-E to create a image. I'm specifying DALL-E here because sometimes the GPT can be confused if you want to do that in Code Interpreter and try to do something. I'm going to specify DALL-E to make sure it's going to create a brand new image. I'm also using this 10 by 24 square image. It's generally the default for what DALL-E will make, but I'm going to specify to make sure I get it. And a square is what I'm going to start to do it to manipulate, but we'll experiment, see if we can get stuff beyond just a square, that we're going to have same sizes. And I am saying a centered circle to make sure I can kind of get that loose circle Ben image in there regardless. So we've got a template. We could keep creating new stuff if we wanted. You can always go back. I'm going to go to the next thing. I'm going to say use pillow and code interpreter. Please resize the image I just uploaded to 500 by 500 pixels. So this is also trying to think if this image here is a little over 1,000, 500 should be about halfway. I'm going to upload the pre-cropped image that I have here, just generally 624 by 624, but I need to resize it by to 500. And this will just make things fit a little bit better. So I'm going to go do that. Again, I'm just saying use pillow and code interpreter to get that consistent result because I like the stochasticity, the creativeness of AI, but I want to have just determined results every single time. So we've got our return image here. This is why we're starting to get the code. We're going to eventually compile all the code that you won't have to really worry about how it's operating. But I'm naming these things just to make sure it's a little bit more consistent. So in my prompt here, I'm saying we will name the resized image square image. And then that way you can see it reflected in the code. And that's once we build all these steps will be what GPT can follow to give you those consistent results of just generating these images over and over. Blah. So next, I'm going to have a new kind of black image in the background, which I'm going to paste stuff on. So just like you would do in PowerPoint when you're moving over images and trying to make them stack, make things go to the forward and back. We're doing that just via packages and coding. So we're going to have a new black image in the background. We're just going to call it canvas. This is going to be our most back layer of the image. And we're going to put that square, that 500 square image that I created that just resized in my head, into the middle of the canvas. So we'll have that run. And I should probably mention too, I'm doing this because my horse business, advertising those horse accessories, didn't work out. I did get actually a lot of background funding for it. I raised a couple $1 million, but I blew it because a competitor that was already in the sheep accessory space just cornered my market. And that happens sometimes, but I'm okay. I'm going on the next thing. I'm just trying to promote me doing stories all the time at Cool Place, my favorite place to tell stories. All right. So jumping back to the thing that we're actually talking about today, I'm going to upload another rectangular image that I created already. You can see here stuff that I might do in the future, sneak peek. I'm going to upload a rectangular image with these specific dimensions and pixels. And this is what you could also specify in Canvas and PowerPoint. These are the details that I want to have solidified because DALL-E plus AI, Ollie, are not great at text yet. And you can kind of specify where the location will be, but just in my previous experience of doing stuff like this event called What Day that is sponsored, not enough time to get into that. It just isn't the best at consistently delivered text. So I'm going to create that static text that I want to have over and over and over. And we're just going to upload that as an image. So you'll get to see what that looks like. And I'm going to name this again. I'm going to name it image event detail just to make sure it's consistent in the code. And then I'm going to ask the GPT to paste the image with event details centered by width. So it's going to go in the middle of this black canvas that we're creating and at 85% height of the canvas with square. And this is a little bit counterintuitive because it's going to go from the top of the image and then go down at around 85%. And so we're going to also, once we have the face, once we have the details, we're going to call that complete canvas image, and then it's going to return the image to me. So this is the little detail component. If you have this saved in a different file in the Canvas, PowerPoint, I'm using a different open source image editing software, GIMP. I don't think the best name thing, but you can just consistently update the details if you'd like. But then once you have a PNG or JPEG, then you can just have that ready. So let's see. Excellent. This is our blank canvas background. And then we are going to edit the image that DALL-E created to make sure everything that I put in here comes through. But we've got a nice static image. You know, this isn't exactly what you'd want to put on social media or print off yet, but we'll get there. All right, we are getting closer. So this is, I think, when we like to go back and use more code and think about the images in kind of digital space. So again, using Pillow, which is the image editing package in Python and Code Interpreter. So we're asking specifically what the GPT needs to do. Create a 250 radius circle mask to create a transparency on the background image you created. So this is saying, go to the middle of the image of the image that it created and create a 250 radius circle, so 500 pixels all together in the middle, and we're just going to remove those pixels. So if we were going to place the background image with the removed pixels in the middle onto my face, it would be smashed together into one file and my face would come through. It's not going to get the bottom rectangle yet, but we'll get there. We're going to do this step by step to create the code that we will compile and also just to verify it all throughout. So we are going to name this new edited image that DALL-E created. We're going to call that background image transparency 1. Very boring, but it's just keeping track of everything, and it's going to let GPT know via the code. So that's going to run. I mean, when you're doing different stuff like this, like when in Rome, although I've never been to Rome, so I've never actually been able to fully know what that means, but I would assume Rome also has access to GPT and is able to do all this stuff too. I think that's generally true. But then you get to see, okay, we got our background image, we've got this 250 radius, 500 diameter circle in the middle removed. My face is going to go there eventually. But let's get that rectangle done too. And this is kind of just using like terminology that's specific, I think, to the pillow package. And it's taken me some experiments to figure out like, what do you really mean by transparency and mask? And this is something that you could edit too. So my prompt that I'm putting in there, I'm matching the dimensions of that event detail little stamp that I made before that I uploaded. So we're going to have that perfectly fit in the transparency. Again, I'm also having to go to 85% of the height backgrounds. We're going to match where it should go in the image to just make sure that shines through right through the image that Dolly created. Return the image to me. Let's see. Boop. Oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Sometimes you should try again. And this is why naming the images something really boring is helpful. So we know this worked. Transparency 1 worked. And this is the image that GPT should be working. We see it's saving as transparency 2, but let's see where it is actually pulling the other image from. And I think it's just going from background image. And we should see background image size. So it could give us the same error before. Let's find out. There we go. Perfect. I'm not exactly sure why I did that. to be completely transparent, like this image. But we have our 2 little masks that we want, and we want to do the final step. So this is where, if you were doing things in Canvas or Photoshop, wherever, we're going to smash that image that was created with transparencies on my face and the little rectangle that should shine through. And let's see. Boom. There we go. So this did take a little bit of work, right, to create, and we still have to make sure we can compile the code completely. But you can imagine if you're trying to spit something like this out, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a day to promote an event, in that 47 seconds demo in the beginning, it's going to save you a lot of time. Like you could manually go in and edit everything or create the new background, but I don't like doing that. And I could have this running anywhere. I could, even on my phone, if I had the ChatGPT app, open that up and just go to this conversation or the custom GPT and say, hit my little button, and then it's going to run that. And I can do that multiple times and then post on Instagram. Okay. So we have all these steps that we need ChatGPT to do to get to the final thing. So instead of having to do this every single time and follow the prompts, that's why I wanted to also create this code. So we're going to have something that is static. It's not going to have to change. We can have a little bit of the variation with whatever the image that DALL-E is going to create, but we can have the standardized path of code to get to the final image that we want. So let's say, please compile all the code that you ran. Only include code that worked. I think that's pretty good. Then it will boop, boop, boop. It's going to compile all the code for us. You can see the original square image file path on there. it looks like it is changing some of the file path names in there. That's okay. We will be able to create a new custom GPT to include all of this. So I'm going to just make sure I don't lose this. I'm going to open a new tab of ChatGPT. I'm going to go to the Explore GPTs, create. Let's create one. I'm going to copy all this code and not all the code, just this little section of code. Copy. Copied. Okay, so this GPT generates an image with DALL-E, then follows the code follow the code below to create a customized ad. I'm telling the GPT, you may need to change file path name, but the steps should be exactly the same. Okay, I'm gonna do this to just make sure it knows the section of when to begin code. You can also see why I might want to have this code instead of having to have me type all the time. Let's just say this is Ben add to customize ad. Descriptions, which we don't need, generates custom Ben ads. But you could put your own name in there. If you want, let's use DALL-E to create something. Conversation starters. So you'll notice that we had to make a image first with DALL-E. So let's do something similar. Create a pixel square image with DALL-E. Feature a prominent circle design in the middle of the image. Let's do have the image with a random style and random color palette. You could, if you wanted to, let me finish that first. Then, yeah, don't rush me. Let me finish this first. Then follow the code. Also important, uploaded files. Before I forget too, so I'm going to upload the square image, rectangular little event details image. Boom, got those two up there. Definitely need to use code interpreter because that's kind of the whole spine of this thing. You could do different conversation starters if you wanted. Instead of having, maybe a random style, have the image with a random style, we could say stained glass with a stained glass style vector image Pixar, whatever. We'll also experiment. I have a weird one that I will save for the experiment. But with this code, we should be ready to roll. We got some things that we can work with. I'm going to say create. Let's say anyone can do this. Anyone can use this. Maybe you can also do this. You could find Ben Ed too by me. I'm Benjamin Edward Rush. I don't know if you can leave comments or anything, but say hello. Let's view it. And then let's see if we can get to the exact result that I asked for before. So far, so good. We're going to start creating an image. I think it's defaults to maybe this gray patterns, but maybe it's also just doing this pixel square. Neat. So you could also, get a bit more creative with it. I thought, if I'm doing a story, which I like to go around town and tell stories. I've told stories about parrots falling in love, meteors, being a very terrible flirt. I could have that image kind of reflect that. Or if I had a consistent brand where I always wanted to do like 8-bit kind of characters or vector-based art. I can have that in the background. You could even have a consistent image and just have this run all the way through. But you lose the fun of DALL-E, I guess. But you could have a more consistent branding. So good use that way too. We are running everything. Looks like we've done all these steps. I accidentally provide the code. Oh, well, please give me that image. You silly ghost. Please give that image. Whoa. Also interesting. So I think we could have probably specified always return that image to me. But usually, even when I've done the steps, it'll go and do that. This is the imperfect world of AI, but it still probably saves you some time. As long as it, there we go. Excellent. What? Please provide a link for me to download the image. Well, this is nice. You get to see all the little tiny errors that happens. Okay. So, and you can also see why sometimes you need to be very specific in your instructions. Download the final image. Final image for download. Sounds promising. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That is fancy. All right. Something else I want to try out. Now, this would be able, barring the little errors that we found, but you could customize your custom GPT or give the instructions or just kind of work with it when it does little finagly things. I believe, and let's double check. We've got our specified dimensions of the image that are being created that are relative, and not just saying like it's pixel number 340 that you need to start something at. The benefit of having the relative things, so if I say here's a square image, always going the halfway point of height and width is going to be right in the middle. If I've got a 16 by 9 image and I say always go to the middle of the height and width, it's still going to be the middle, even though, it's not going to be square. But see, the distances aren't going to be the same between height and width. But if it's relative, it shouldn't matter. I think my face would appear in the middle each time. I'm not entirely sure, but let's find out. And this is also helpful too. Instead of doing the square, you could also have a dimension of a page if you want to have some sort of poster or something like that, and figure out new ways to then maybe have GPT just paste these different background photos that it creates in a cool pattern, and then plaster your face and whatever details that you want to put on there. So yeah, more to come on that because I've been thinking of how to make that work. But we'll find out. So let's ask DALL-E to create something new. So before I do different images, let's also show some of the versatility in this too. So let using DALL-E, create an image of an astronaut from, let's just say astronaut, in a square image, hyper realistic, vivid photo should be the image style. Probably could have done that better grammar, but I didn't. Then let's have that be returned. And why I'm having DALL-E create this new image is you could have whoever you want centered at that middle square. And this is also kind of the nice adaptation of the GPTs. You can say, use this new generated image as the square image that should go where my face was. So use this new astronaut image instead of the uploaded square image and run all the code. So I don't know if you could have eventually, like, maybe I could have my little face in that astronaut helmet, and then I could be posted in there. Let's find out. Well, it won't be in this one, but we should be able to get the little astronaut head in where the spot where my face was. And after this is run, then we'll try adjusting the background image size, which you could always, adapt. I think, again, because all those spots that we wanted the GPT to place images, it should adapt to whatever size, but we'll double check. We're learning together here, and that's again what life is all about. Let's share what you know. Oh, the spaceman surrounded by astronauts. Ben Rush, who we're assuming is the astronaut here. This could be anyone. Ben Rush, the astronaut. Ben Rush, the astronaut, tells stories at a cool place in the past. Okay, we've got that. Please create a 16 by 9. I think Donnelly can do this. It has some specific defaults of image size, but I believe it can do something like this. 16 by 9. What style do we want? Vector art image showcasing cacti in box. Make it 80s style with pinks and yellows. In neon green. It's like a party invitation. Woohoo! Okay. All right, let's see what the AI generates with this. I have like a little thing of like little cacti, and there's lightning bolts around, and maybe like exclamations. We'll see. This is also a fun little test of what does my brain think is going on versus that's not what I thought was going to happen, but I will accept it. It's still pretty neat. Okay, with this new image, follow the code. Use the originally uploaded square image. Place in the. I'm just gonna do that. I have found that using your mouth to create farty sounds does help when you are coding, and especially with AI. AI really tends to like farty sounds, and it will tell you so. And it also accepts little squeaks and high-pitched, cute noises. I don't think I understood anything. All right, let's see what this makes. Download final image with cacti. A jumbled mess. Okay, so we would be able to update the code to be able to have this to be reflected. You can see this is cropping to a square image. You know why this is? It's because we made our background image, our canvas, to be a square. We can change that in the fly. So use the cacti image as the background image, but when running the code again, what are 16 by 9? Oh, use create the canvas image as 600 by 900 pixels instead of a square image. We'll see if this works, but this would actually, I'm pretty sure, would be the fix, because we are trying to paste all the background image right on the square image instead of the kind of larger widescreen image. So it should fix everything. I should also end this video relatively soon, because it's almost half an hour. I'm by myself in my apartment, and I have a downstairs neighbor, and he's probably like, what is Ben talking about? And he's rambling, and he seems really high energy because he has had a lot of caffeine today. And also, it's 3:15, which, yes, you can see on my screen. It's late May. There's sunshine out the back, and I don't go play outside. So if this works, I'm gonna go play. If not, I'm gonna go play. But you can see the potential here. And this is stuff on the fly. Let me make sure. Is there anything else I wanted to try? No, I think we covered most of the stuff. Ooh, baby, let's see. Ooh, come on, widescreen cacti. Interesting. It got closer. I, I think it's still centered. This is odd. You can see it's partially there. How did that happen? Honestly, I don't know. This is because part of it is there. I think if this mask at the bottom was shifted up a little bit, that shouldn't matter. I don't know. This is something you have to keep experimenting with. But if you had a widescreen thing that you saw and you tried to run this and it didn't work, you could go back to the original steps that we did where it's little chunk by little chunk and it is able to pull results so you can check instead of running everything at once. And it could be that in all of these steps, when I said, hey, try to just change the original canvas this, it screwed something else up. The nice thing is you still have the background of the prompts that you could use. You have the background of the code to update, and you could save every single variation that you wanted to do with a different size output, a different background, whatever events that you want as a different custom GPT, and then always go back to it. So that's the nice thing about the flexibility. And a little bit, we did this maybe the first time in 5 or 10 minutes. Once you have that first GPT that works pretty well, you're going to save yourself that time over and over and over going forward. So a little bit of editing up front can save you a lot of time down the line, especially if you're trying to do consistent images. Another application I think would be pretty neat. So I had, my face being plastered on something that's newly created. If you were doing spotlighting other people coming to your workplace, featured guests, you could just consistently upload a different headshot, resize it to 500 by 500 pixels, slap it in the middle. They're going to be featured. You can edit your events and then advertise over and over and over. Eventually, I want to do a video where I'm putting like logos and stuff in consistent places, and so you can really have consistent branding with interesting designs being updated with AI, and then run over and over, so you can just be a fun, creative person. Maybe you're going to do a little trend of all the images that you see out there, but you still have your consistent logos too. Anyways, I think this is enough. It's at 33 minutes and a little bit more over that. And as you can see, it's a real nice day out, and I want to go play. And you've kept me here long enough. Shame on you. With that, I hope you've learned something, and I'll be back with more ideas. Until then, get angry at big sheep and or goat accessories, whatever the one that I said, that put me out of business. And then instead invest in this new business that I have. And, to me,